Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Team All In training tonight. Some of you know that I follow the Wisdom Builder trainings every Friday, and there's some times where I just know that something needs to be repeated and heard again and have a conversation around, especially when Alan and the Wisdom Builder team are just crushing it. And so are we in Canada. I just want to say the great things are happening. So really appreciate you all and all the work that you guys are doing. But I think this message that Alan has to share with us is pretty powerful. And then we'll have a really good discussion around this. So take notes. And if there's anything you want to talk about after, just keep that in mind. Here he goes.
Is something that has been shared before in our industry for many years, in fact, for many decades, but we've never really shared it in this way here that I've seen anyway, in the last decade in the Neolife family. And that is just to think about kind of like a visual to show how powerful duplication really can be and is. And so I want to start off with that and then just talk about a few different things that I think are really important for us to all get the duplication that we desire. So real simple talk, but I think a super important one, because I think most people on this call are on this call because they want to scale their business and they're heading to a destination in their business that they haven't, you haven't been before. And to get there, we can get there a whole lot faster with it as a team than we can a team of one. And that's where duplication comes into play. And to duplicate, we must recruit other people that want to do what we do. And so that's why the topic of conversation today. But the example is, in our industry, there's been a lot. I've heard it often talked about, again, like a 5 by 5. Okay. This is kind of like an old school way to paint a picture. We've done it different ways here at Neolife, but it's like an old school way to paint a picture, a visual of the power of duplication in our business, what the kind of leverage that we can create. And they call it a 5 by 5 because it's simply, and if I had a whiteboard, someone could draw it out, but I can verbally tell you because it's so simple. It's if you recruited 5 people who recruit 5 people, and that happens for 5 generations or 5 levels, as we call it, right? 5 who recruit 5, who recruit 5, who recruit 5, who recruit 5. When you do that math, I wrote it down so I wouldn't have to do the math, you end up with 15,600 and some odd team members, okay? Promoters. We're talking about promoters right now. So you'd end up with a team of over 15,000 promoters. And most people can conceive in their mind recruiting 5 promoters. Most people can conceive 5 promoters recruiting 5 promoters, and that happening 4 more times, or a total of 5 times. And when that happens, and of course it never happens perfectly like that, because one promoter is going to go recruit 300 promoters, and another promoter is going to go recruit 1. But, and it still works out just fine. But when that happens, you've got a team of over 15,000 people. And just to show you the math, because I think sometimes it's so easy to go, even if we're at a director rank and we go, okay, so we sold a breakfast solution and we made, whatever it is, I don't even know, $35 or something. It seems kind of onesie, twosie. It can seem small. It can be hard for people to even understand how do people earn the kind of money that people earn in this industry and even within our company. And so when you've got 15,000, this is just doing some simple math. When you've got 15,625 people in your organization, and just if everybody, and I know everybody doesn't use the same product, but simple math, okay? If everybody was on a core 3, breakfast solution and an Elevate for the whole household, right? That's all it was. Core 3. That would be just under 2 million PV a month, which is about $3.3 million in sales, roughly $3.3 million a month in sales that your organization would be producing. And that would be an income roughly, which is an annual sales of like 39 million, by the way. And I'll be done with math here in 30 seconds for those that can't stand math. But that would be an annual income probably in that $3 to $4 million a year range. And while these numbers may just seem like astronomical crazy talk, I understand to some that may seem just crazy talk. And, you know, maybe it is crazy talk for some. But I just want you to know there are real people like you and me that don't have any or didn't have. They've gained a lot of special skills because of this business, but they didn't start with any special skills. They didn't start with anything you or I don't already have. And in many cases, even with inferior products to what we have to offer people, if they're in other companies. And yet they have done and continue to do, and there's people cashing checks today in this range and significantly more. I'm not even going on the high end. We are in a mastermind with people that have 15,000 new people joining their organization every month, more than that even. And so I'm talking 15,000 total would produce this kind of volume based on a core 3 per person, per distributorship. So when you start thinking about it and you're like, okay, yeah, I could recruit 5 promoters, 5 runners that recruit 5 runners, that could recruit 5 runners, that recruit 5 runners, that recruit 5 runners. And this is essentially what it produces. Okay, it's just simple math. And so I think sometimes if you're anything like me, it's nice to be reminded of that and to be reminded of what we have that most jobs and most businesses don't. It's a super special thing. And you see, if you go out there and duplicate like this, and you end up with a business selling $39 million worth of Neolife every year, and you're making 3 or 4 million a year, and if that's too big for you, just take 10%. You know, go sell 3.9 million a year and make whatever that is, 300 to 400 grand or something a year. Okay, if that helps you a little bit, fine. But I just want you to know these numbers aren't numbers other people aren't doing. And I would say, if other people can have that kind of impact, why can't you? Why can't I? Why can't we, with the best products on the planet that we know people need? And so as I start thinking about that, I hope that encourages you. I hope it excites you. Again, if that's just too big for you to fathom or dream, it's okay. Scale it down to whatever you want to scale it down to. Go 3 times 3 times 3, and you're about at a director volume. I mean, whatever you want, but the leverage is there if you want to go after it. But to get duplication, this is what I really want to talk about. We must recruit. We must recruit. And we can look at recruiting like, for a while, I actually looked at the word recruiting as like, it almost felt, I don't want to use the word icky, but because it was never that for me, but it almost had that flavor. Like I'm trying to recruit somebody, like just the word, not that I felt like I was doing that, just the word itself. And then I realized I can't be hung up with words. I've got to be hung up with what am I offering of value to people, and do I believe it or not? And if I believe it, that it's something amazing, and if you believe it, I'm sure you do, that this is something amazing, life-changing in so many ways, then why in the world wouldn't we try to bring as many people into it that obviously wanted to be a part of it, but they don't know what they don't know unless they know. And how do they know unless they hear or see or read? And how do they hear unless there's somebody who types it or says it or shares it? That's you, that's me, that's our job. That's what this business is all about. So again, we can't, some of you I know have big dreams like us, of big impact, and we can't reach that as a team of one. So we have to recruit. So some keys, so just some keys, like I was thinking, well, actually, let me ask you this. And if you're bold enough, maybe you can even put it in the chat. Like, is there something that you feel like is holding you back from recruiting at a higher level and bringing on other business partners? Feel free to put that in the chat. I would be very curious, because I think there's a lot of common things that we all face fears, insecurities, lack of this, lack of that, whatever. Most of the things are in our mind, but they're real. I mean, they're real in our minds anyway. They're real. So it's worth like really thinking about. But the first thing I thought of, there's 5 things, and there's a lot of things we could say, but the first thing I was thinking about is got to have bulletproof belief. We have to have bulletproof belief, and hopefully you have it. But if there's an area, that we did a whole 15-minute basically recruiting call, thanks to Jamie Summers and Dwight Johnson and Nicole. I think it was the 4 of us that did it, right? And input from them and what kind of we developed. But we really were addressing that key thing of belief, because I think the main reason people don't play or perform at the level that they could and that they might desire is they're lacking belief in some area, belief in the product, belief in the company, belief in the industry, belief in themselves maybe. Somewhere the belief is weak. And I would just say the first thing we have to do to be able to recruit most effectively, not saying you can't recruit, but to recruit other business partners, other promoters most effectively, is we have to have bulletproof belief. And I would say if you don't have that, if you have it, great. If you don't, do whatever you have to do to get it. Borrow it from somebody. There's that could be a whole nother talk, but do you know your story? Can anybody convince you otherwise on this idea of bulletproof belief? Can anybody convince you otherwise of your experience with Neolife? Can anybody convince you otherwise of the effectiveness of the products? Can anybody convince you otherwise that Neolife always has their customers' best interest at heart, not the bottom line only? Obviously the bottom line is important, right? But they got to stay in business, but that the product quality there's just no compromise on that. Do you believe that with all your heart? Do you believe the compensation plan is fair? Do you believe it pays? Do you believe it's worth the work? Like, are you rock solid in that? And why are you doing this? Like, have you thought about, like, I know we talk a lot about our why, but why are you here today? Why are you doing this business? Because, and the reason why that's so important is because we won't do the hard thing if we don't know why we're doing it. And this applies to anything. Like, we will not do the hard thing, the uncomfortable thing, the new thing, if we don't even know why we're doing it. So that's why I think it's so important to know, what's our story? Why are we doing it? What's our belief level in this thing? And, I think it was Brendan Bouchard. I think it doesn't matter who, but I want to give credit where credit's due. But he talked about 3 high-performing habits, or 3 habits of high-performing people. And I wrote them down. One is, he said, is clarity. Clarity. Like, do you know what you want your life to look like? Do you know what it is you want out of a career? Whether it's a side career, whether Neolife's a side career, secondary career, or a primary someday, do you know what you want? Second thing he says is necessity. Do you know that there's necessity to do certain things? So do you know why you must build this? Like, is there necessity? Because and I thought about this, if there's not a conviction on some level, then you probably won't do what you might want to do or think you want to do or whatnot. Because why? Because the urgency of the urgent will always trump and dominate what maybe even is more important if we don't have necessity there. And the third thing he said was urgency. Why must you now? Is there urgency? If there's not urgency, and that's why I love the consistency challenge so much, is because if there's not urgency to do something before the day's over, well, then why do it today? Well, do it tomorrow. And then if there's no urgency tomorrow, why do it tomorrow? Let's do it tomorrow again, and tomorrow again, and tomorrow again, and tomorrow never comes. And we never reach our goals, and we never reach our level of impact. So having clarity, necessity, and urgency. But all this really comes back to, again, rock solid belief. Do we have rock solid belief? And the second thing I was thinking is, we have to be, like you and I, we have to be ourselves. Like, to be really effective at recruiting, you have to be you. You have to be you. You can't be somebody else. It doesn't work. nor would you want, and should you want to. We have to be authentically you. We have to also get out of our own way. In this being you, we have to get out of our own way. We have to take our eyes off of me, and we've got to focus them on the other people that we want to serve. We cannot worry about what other people think about us. I mean, we need to do things professionally, and we need to not, hurt people and damage relationships and all that, of course. So in that sense, we need to care. But we need to not care about what other people think about us in the sense of what we're doing and our motives and why, when we know we're doing something with the right motives and we're here to serve people and help people. So I guess one of the questions I thought of was like, it's worth thinking like, what is on the other side for you? Okay, not theory, not for me, but what is on the other side of your fears, and you being able to, if you need to, get out of your own way and get the focus off of you and what people are going to think and this and that and do, and what if you were able just to focus on what is really best for the other person with your belief level up here that we talked about in point 1, right? This is point 2, being you. This is what I think is on the other side of that. And this is why I think it's worth the conversation and why I think it's worth working through and getting over. It's other people. Here's what's on the other side of it. It's other people being able to spend more time with their children. It's other people being able to have victories in their health they will not have otherwise. I'm not saying nobody will have victories in their health without Neolife, but absolutely there are people that will not have victories in their health without Neolife. We've seen it too many times. It's people being able to relieve financial stress in their life that's affecting their health, that's affecting their marriage, that's affecting their children, that's affecting their life in every single way. Just an extra $500 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever it might be, $200 a month will change families. And these are just a few things that's on the other side of us getting out of our own way, getting out of our head, smashing fear in the face and saying, listen, my courage is stronger than my fear. And fear is not going to go away, so I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to exercise courage because I care about others more than myself. It's others learning about discovering a community that we all love and they need. It's others, I wrote down, being able to grow and develop in their leadership skill and their communication skill, in their confidence. I mean, there's some really fun stuff on the other side of our fears and our selfishness and our laziness and our insecurities and all these things. So we need to, and here we are, even though all this is on the other side of it, here we are worrying about, do I have the right script? Do I have the right words to say? Should I send them this video or this video? Should I invite them to a live or send them a recording? And do I know enough about the products? What if they ask me a question I don't know? Do I know enough about the compensation plan? And that's what we do, right? Am I the only one? Does anybody else do that? Get in your head and you think these things, and then instead of focusing on people, helping people, offering them this incredible business opportunity, we're like, oh yeah, well, I just haven't made enough money yet. I just haven't had enough success yet. There's answers to all that. Borrow someone else's confidence, borrow someone else's financial story, borrow someone else's knowledge. They're just not good reasons to withhold an amazing solution from others. And we've just got to change our relationship with failure. We've got to view failure as, I learned. It was a lesson learned, not a tragic thing. It's like, hey, I said things wrong. I did things wrong. I'm going to learn from it and do it better next time. We'll never learn as much listening to someone give a lecture or a training as we will when we get off the bench, on the court, in the field, get muddy, get dirty. We learn real quick that way. It's the best way to learn. Sure, take in the information, but then we got to get it on the field and we got to get it into action. Third thing of 5 is be bold. Be bold. Start conversations. Show we care. Listen well. Ask good questions. Should have said that backwards. Ask good questions. Listen well. Hear their dreams. Hear their goals. Hear their challenges. And don't be afraid to pop the question about the business. If this is the conversation, right? If this is the conversation, things like, Do you have you heard their dreams because you asked the questions, you got to hear their dreams. Do you have a vehicle? That sounds amazing. Do you have a vehicle to get you there? I'm not saying it has to be these questions, but it's questions like this. Do you have a vehicle to get you there? Would you be willing to explore one? I think I have something that might be able to help you. I'd love to get to help you accomplish that. I mean, what's wrong with asking these questions? Nothing. And it can literally change somebody else's life. The fourth thing, be all in. And I know this term gets used in a variety of different contexts, but I've never been more, and all in, I'll just try to define it real quick for me anyway, is not 40 hours a week, not 80 hours a week, not 2 hours a week. It's not about the time you put into the business. It's about right here. It's about your level of belief and commitment to what you're doing here on whatever amount of time that you can give to it. That's all in. That's what I believe all in is. And I think it's one of the greatest obstacles facing us in recruiting other business builders. If I had to pick one, it might be this one. These are all important, but so many times we're afraid to be fully committed, fully all in for fear even of what other people might think. And the truth be told, I think it's almost worse to be, or more weird, to be half in, to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out and like be straddling the fence. And if that's you, like, I think that's maybe more weird. And certainly it's not going to lead to other people being attracted to the vision, the mission, and where you're heading. They won't have confidence in that. We can't attract others to a vision that we don't have, right? Our actions have to align with our words. The words just become less and less meaningful if our actions don't align with what we say is important to us, where we say we're going, this vision we have. And finally, number 5, we've got to be willing to do the work. Like, we can have all the right mindsets, but if we're not willing to do the work, put the boots on, go to work, do the hard work, do the heart work, do the head work, do the things to, the transformational stuff, the stuff that's going to change us and grow us and make us a more effective person at helping others. These things like communication and mindset and these different things that we were talking about, we have to go to work. So there's no easy way to get to the top, whatever the top it looks like for you. There's no easy way without doing the work. And the work can be fun with the right mindset and the right team and the right people to run alongside with. It can be a whole lot of fun. It's not, there's some challenges to anything, but it's the most rewarding work we've ever done. And I'm sure you all would agree with that as well. So in summary, if we want to recruit other people, and we all do, I think, or we wouldn't be on the call, we have to make sure we've got the belief. We've got to make sure we've got the boldness to be able to say and do what needs to be done for others' best, not ours. We've got to be authentically us in doing it. So take scripts, take this and all this stuff, learn from other people, model things from people, great, but make it you and do you, and you're going to have the best results. Be all in, be committed to this, regardless of how much time you're able to give, give your all, whatever that is for you, and commit to consistent action. And that absolutely leads to success. And what I've said so many times, I believe with all my heart, I'll close with this, turn it back to you, Dwight, is I love this business. And one of the things I love about this business is I know if I invite somebody to join me, that they can't fail. They can only quit. And I love that because that's their choice to quit or not quit and get a little further. How it usually works is they don't usually just quit right away. There's signs. People drift a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And in their mind, most of them don't even try to quit, but it just happens. Probably like a lot of relationships. But nobody fails if they do these things and they have the right perspective on quote failure, they learn from it and keep getting up fall down, get up, make adjustments, and keep moving forward. And I love that. And we grow and we impact lives in the process. And I just want to remind you, 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 is a lot of impact. Not just a lot of income, it's a lot of impact. And there's zero reason why anyone can't go get some or all or more than that in our lifetime if we're willing to do these things and get to work and recruit other promoters to do the same. Back to you, Dwight. Thank you so much.
Wow, wow, wow. It's one of my favorite sessions, I think. A lot of things that really kind of got me excited today was some of you know, I spent the day with Francis at an event, and it was at a senior center, and it was just offering different services for the employees, for the staff, for the people at the center. Anyways, Francis is not here tonight, and I'm going to share her story because she is going to listen to this. I'm so proud of her. She is someone that had a lot of fear, a lot of doubt in talking to people. Didn't think she could do this. She even told Ashley at her one-on-one session is, I'm not a good promoter. And I remember Ashley sitting down with her and telling her, you're a great promoter. Anyways, that reminded me of that conversation. And even when I watched her today talking to people and just sharing her story, and you're going to hear, I did a videotape of her. She's going to share her story on the products on Thursday with her digestion and her gut health. And she's shared with everybody at that booth. We've had 3 people that came back to the booth that kept asking more questions, and 2 are asking about the income and business opportunity. I watched her in action. When I got her to the house today, her husband looked at me and he goes, so how did she do? I said, Tibor, she nailed it. She killed it. And he's like, really? Anyways, he was so proud of her. And, and one of the things that, she said to me tonight was her son is home from university and he has a hockey game up north, and her family were going to go to her son's hockey game. And she said, Nada, and I could tell she was feeling guilty that she was being torn whether she should go to watch her son play hockey or join us on this meeting tonight. And I looked at her and I said, Francis, I said, that is where the beautiful thing is you need to be with your son. If that was me, I'd be going to watch his hockey game tonight. And she just looked at me and I said, you did your work today. I said, this is recorded. I know you'll watch the recording. I said, that's the beauty of this business. This is your business. You make the decision on what's important to you and where you want to spend your time. Okay. She's still all in. It's just that was more important than her being on this meeting tonight. So I just wanted to share that with you because it was a very, it just really drew a lot. And the belief that she has now, just there, bold. Boy, was she bold today. I was watching her, and some of you have seen the personal growth in her. I'm using her as an example because we've seen her come from this shy, quiet, not certain, didn't have a lot of belief. She was still struggling with her tummy. Boy, right now, crazy. And the consistent action. She's made a decision to be more consistent a little bit every day, right? So anyways, I just wanted to use that as an example, and that's something that just popped out, especially after having this amazing day with her today. So anybody else, anything that kind of popped out or that maybe was more clear for you guys or that you're going to use from Alan's special message? You can unmute yourselves. And I don't want any silence.
No, he said a lot of great things, actually. It's a lot of key points, like actually knowing your why. Knowing your why is, I think, a big proponent to keep the motion going. If you know where you're going, you can't really get to where you're going if you don't know where you're going. It's like I heard an analogy once of, being dropped off in Paris and, you have a map, but you don't know where you want to go. Like most people know they want to go see the Eiffel Tower. So if you don't know that you want to go see the Eiffel Tower, it doesn't matter how you're going to get there. You could take a train, you could walk, so it's that knowing your why, it helps talk and have more belief. Actually, it gives you the belief that you need in the product when you know your why you're doing it, where you're going. I took a course once, and it spoke about creating a statement of purpose for your life. And I've written a lot of business plans in my career, and I've always written business plans for other people's businesses. And there comes a time when you have to realize that, kind of treat yourself that way, that give yourself a mission statement and your own vision, and treat yourself like you are your own business. Well, you are your own business, but treat it like you would, what is your vision and mission statement for yourself? What do you want to accomplish? That, knowing that why, and then that will help you, everything will just line up. If you know where you're going, things will start to line up.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Clear, made that pretty darn clear.
Clarity. You need the clarity and the necessity and the urgency.
Yes. Anybody else?
Well, just-
I think that, who's going?
It's okay.
Right?
Go ahead, Joan, and then Wen.
Okay. So just being yourselves, I think that I like that. Just being authentically you, because we can't be anybody else. I can't try to be you, Nada, and you can't try. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be ourselves, because that comes across to people. So
Absolutely. And I love that too, because I'm not an expert in a lot of things, right? And I literally just do what I do, and it's because I love what I do. Sometimes my grammar isn't good, my English isn't good, my punctuation. You guys all know that. That's who I am, right? And that's why I count on you guys to catch that and to help me, right? Because that's who I am. That's just me. And I think that's really important, because people know when you're trying to be somebody else, right? And I know that because when I was on the police force, I was in my 20s. I remember working, with all these guys, and some of the girls that I was working with tried to be like the guys. And you know what happened? They weren't treated very well. They were not respected, and they had a really difficult time. And I learned at a very young age, I'm not a guy. I'm me. I'm going to be who I am. And they respected that. They appreciated me. And guess what? We all got along. And then when I needed help, they were there for me, because I wasn't trying to pretend to be somebody else. And that's really important. So be your authentic self.
and also, being your authentic self, but working on it as well too.
Absolutely. Personal development. But I'm sorry, Joan, but the grammar just doesn't come naturally to me.
I was alluding to that right now. In general.
Some things work. I'm not going back to school. I'm not going back to school. Sorry, school scares me.
I'll highlight for you, Nada.
Okay, thank you. That's why I count on Leonie and you. And all right, thank you. Wen?
Well, Tracy hit bang on for me. I mean, yes, we have to know our why. We've all done our why statements. I've done a why statement for my health. I've done a why statement for my business, for why I use the products, why I do the business. We have to know our vision. Vision is still kind of escapes me, because it just seems too big and too overpowering. But I have to get over that. It's not that big. Well, it is. It's really important to me. So it is big, but it's not too big. It's just going to be big enough, no matter how big it is, and it will be big.
And you're
So, and I need to know where I'm going, because right now I'm not even, with that expression where you're just spinning your wheels. I don't even feel like I'm spinning my wheels. I need to get out there and spin my wheels, even though I don't feel like that's effective, because I have to learn how to do it. I have to learn. I won't learn to do it sitting at home saying, oh, look at the list of people I have. Who will I talk to today? I think I'll go read a book. It's just like, that's crazy stuff that I'd be doing. But I think that we actually, what I heard from Tracy as well is that she's taught people how to make business plans. And we probably have been taught to make business plans, but I kind of want to have a workshop like that. Like maybe one of our Tuesday sessions could be Tracy, sorry to be on the spot, but somebody, somebody like that who would teach us how to make it. If it's your thing, like that, you just said, I've done this, you've done that. So
Mhm, mhm.
Woo!
Well,
Okay.
it's
it would be
interesting
really
that you say that
exciting
too.
if we did
'cause-
that and we all could do something like that, because we really want to be successful in our businesses. And Nada, don't worry about what you think are your weaknesses, because your strengths trump anything that you might think you're weak in. I don't see any weakness. I think you're just an amazing person. And
Absolutely.
I want you to
Hey,
look
I
at
sent you, Nada, I sent you an email to edit for me. So there you go. Remember, I sent you an email to edit. And another thing that Alan said was too is when he was saying about the script and the video and send this or send that, I was laughing because I'm like, oh my God, he's in my head. Like I was just doing that. Right? Like I was so like, oh, and that's what I sent to Nada. Is this too much? Should I send this? Is it too little? Like I'm too much in my head of thinking what they need from me without even like just be yourself. Like just say, you know what is it that you want to correct? What is it that you would like to see? And ask them what they want and say, okay, here you go, try this. Instead of, oh, they've got this and they've got that. And you know what, kind of do the reverse and go, instead of talk about what they have, ask them what they want and then provide the solution. Because there's a solution for everything. Because sometimes if we talk about the things that we want for ourselves, it's not for them. And then they don't get excited because it's not their priority. So it's really, like I realized I was so consumed with, oh, I need to send the train in because that's the star product and nobody out there has it. There's no competition. And so I was too much in my head, worried about what they need to hear from me, that maybe the best thing to ask is, what is it that you want to correct in yourself or affect in yourself or see a change or facilitate some kind of positive change in yourself, and know that Neo Life has an answer for whatever it is.
Fantastic. You got it. Excellent. Pauline's got her hand up. You can unmute, hon.
Yes, I enjoyed his presentation, but 3 words just stuck with me when he said, do it today. Yes, today, not tomorrow. We're not sure about tomorrow, we're sure about today. So when, do it today, okay? And that's
Thank
my
you.
motto
Yes,
now, do
I
it
hear you,
today.
Pauline.
Do it today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Keep this handy.
Oh, I love that tracker. Yeah. Being part of Alan's challenge.
This is the new one, right? Yes, I have
The new,
those.
the new consistency challenge. If anybody doesn't have it, I was able to scan it. Sean gave it to me and I can email it to the group if you want. It's actually, I like it because it's 1 a day. It's not overwhelming. It's not like 20 things a day. It's one of the things in each category. Just pick one of them. If you can do 1 a day in some of the categories, it's just one thing a day. It's so much easier, especially for those of you that are working full time, that, aren't doing this full time and you're feeling like, oh, what do I need to do? When you look at that consistency challenge, it's so easy. It's doable and it's not threatening.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you're not doing it, like even if you're not like I didn't join the challenge, but I like seeing it because it's a good reminder. Did I speak to someone about it today? Did I say like in the morning when I wake up and I see it, and then at the end of the day, like it's just a good reminder. I really like it. It's easy to look at too.
Excellent.
Could you send it out by
the beauty
email?
about that too is that even though the challenge may be over, you can still continue doing it.
Yes, I was thinking of that. That's an everyday thing, forever. So
You want to say something, Kamea? I think you might. Yeah, I don't know if you're muted. I don't. I see your mouth moving, but I
She's
don't
muted.
hear you.
Sorry, it's just
Oh, there you go.
like picking our fingers. I wasn't really talking about that. We kind of missed the first part because we hopped on the wrong Zoom, the Zoom for 8 o'clock instead, so we missed the beginning. But a lot of what Alan was saying, my mom's been saying the same thing since the show on Sunday. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, so I just thought she would want to share, but
And then Kamea, Nada, and Joan, everyone was helping me the last couple of days. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I didn't know anything and I was so nervous. And you know what? My business grew the faster when I knew less. Because I was talking from the heart and I was just so excited about how I was feeling. I was excited about my mom's journey. You know, when I got somebody calling me, thanking me, my headaches are like, I was getting headaches every day and I'm only getting them once a week. Like I just started to share and I didn't know a lot about the products. I didn't know anything about the marketing plan. I just got this check. I know what it was. I grew faster in the first, I would say 6 months of my business. Then I felt I had to know everything. Oh, I gotta know everything. Oh, I gotta know everything, right? And that's where it could slow you down a little bit. Okay. So I had to find that balance. You still have to learn in your journey. You'll still learn as you grow and as you build. But just remember, you don't have to know everything because we have answers for you. You don't know the answer? You know what? I don't know the answer to that. Let me get back to you. Let me write to our scientific advisory board about that. That's a pretty tricky question. I'll see if they have an answer for that. Right? There's nothing wrong with saying that because you don't want to pretend that you know everything because you don't.
I can
Okay.
definitely relate to that because like after even knowing what Neo Life was for less than a month, I did a show with Shelly and I just throw myself into the deep end with that, right? But you do, I just listen to how Shelly talks and then you just like catch on to how to speak to people and then you find your own kind of rhythm. And there's been so many times I think at shows too, Shelly is like, oh, like, did you know them? Like, is that your friend? I'm like, no, I just met them. But like how I'm talking, like that's the type of like conversations you want to have it. You want to have them to be so natural. So I've definitely learned to pick up on that, I think.
Yeah, you want to build a friendship. You want to build a friendship because they need to trust you, right? They're going to be buying something that they're going to be putting into their mouth that's going into their body, right?
Yeah.
So they buy you first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's I think another thing I've learned from Alan talking. He said people buy from people they like they're not going to buy from someone they don't like. So you have to like sell yourself first almost. Like
Absolutely.
yeah.
Awesome.
I think just being here tonight, I was just thinking, you know, they said be around the fireside. What is it? Be around the campfire, right? And it's just the energy, and I'm feeling sad for some of the people who are not here. I know there are occasions where, say, Francis had this, but we can't give them excuses too, right? That it's so important to be here to the live ones because I'm just feeling that energy and what he's saying. You can listen to the recording and it's there, but it's not the same. So if possible, 90% of the time, just to be here. I try to be all of them, right? So I think, yeah, I'm feeling for some of the people on my team who are not.
Yeah. No, I totally get it because you know you're right. Being around the campfire, being around
So
this
important.
community, it helps you to deal with the challenges that are going to come tomorrow. Right? It's because we're all going to have challenges, right?
Or just the energy, just
Yeah,
feeling
the good energy. You're right. Actually,
it's encouraging, right,
Yeah.
Wen?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was thinking that if I had just watched that recording, because I was in the beginning feeling like, oh God, he's asking me to do a lot more than I've ever been prepared to do. I mean, come on now, I'm 73. Give me a break. I can't do all this stuff at my age. And then he said something that really caught me. I mean, he's always telling us to be bold, start conversations, ask good questions, you know, offer possibilities, do the work, mindset on helping people. And I thought, yeah, I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that because that's okay. And then he started talking about being all in. And that really smacked me in the face because that really helped. When he said, be all in, he said, I don't mean you're doing the job all the time. Thank you, Alan. He said, it's all about a level of belief, being all in about your level of belief, being all in about your level of commitment. It doesn't mean 24/7. I feel so much healthier already. It's all about your level of confidence. So that's something that, you know, I'm sure we all, especially, I mean, I'm not even new, but I am new because I'm not old yet. except in years. But anyway, and it's all about your level of boldness. So he was talking about that is the way to be all in, be more committed, be your level of your confidence, your level of your boldness, and your level of your authentic self.
Yeah.
That's what all in is all about.
Yeah, when I have to say, you are like, okay, honestly, age is like the new big thing. Like aging, honestly, is the next, like people are going to be looking at age and they're like, I want to be like that. Because you're nothing, like you are so youthful. That was like the way you speak. When you said your age, I was like, come on. I like, no way. So honestly, that's actually, I think, the level that we need to start really looking at our ages as it's cool. Like people, younger people are going, can't wait to age because they see that age is not a degradation. Age is actually, I'm going to coin this term, you think. We're getting younger as we get older because we're getting wiser. And as we get wiser, we are like, we're younger. So the younger people are can't wait to be our age.
I love it.
Yeah, they can. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
And when I would like to say, I like this new van. What a major improvement from yesterday.
Yes.
Kudos
I'm
to
a
you.
bit of a yo-yo, you know that. I mean,
No, you're gonna
No.
you're
my
gonna
mood
go,
is.
yep.
It's just
Up
my
and
mood,
up
and
and
I'm
up
working
and up
on
and up.
that.
Take that
Thank
word.
you. Yes, I
Yeah,
got to
no.
get that leveling up.
There you
Just
go.
keep those words in your mind, Wen.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We know. And one day Tracy will see your pipes.
Oh, don't tell her to look for those because I've been a little lax.
No, you're still good. Those pipes are still there. I know.
Anyway.
All right. Anybody else? Before
I
we
have
close
something
it?
to say, a couple of things.
Yes, Leonie.
Actually, it's funny when you talk about like Tracy and when you guys say about, age and stuff. And it's so funny because, I used to be afraid of like, okay, I'm getting old. Well, I'm old, but it's a mindset. And I play with the people as in it's a guessing game. And we talk about age. And I've said this for the longest time. How old do you think I am? 9 times out of 10, they cannot guess my age. And I will say to them, and they look at you, and people want to be, they don't want to hurt your feelings, or they just want to be careful. I said, look, don't be diplomatic, be truthful. And they look at me, and then they start guessing, right? And then I tell them, they go, oh, wow. So when I do tell them how old I am, they go, wow. And I said, and that's the beauty of the neolife, of neolife, right? So I put that in there. But obviously, it's also other things, right? The other thing that should I play like a game? The other thing that Alan said was change your relationship with failure and learn from it. Okay, so I have to share this with you guys. So today I was at Winners and I worked there, and I love to chat with people. I have no problem chatting. So this young woman, she had a baby, a few months old. I think it was 4 months, and it is so cute. But anyway, so we're talking. I said, oh, she got 3 kids, blah, blah. And I said, oh, what kind of work do you do? And she says, oh, I'm an environmentalist and, something to do with that. So I said, oh, I see. I said, and I asked her about maternity leave and all that. I said, would you like to stay up? Like, what would you like to do? What would you like, if you had the choice? She said, I would love to stay at home. I would love to stay home with the kids. She got a couple of kids. And this is where I screwed up. Now, learning from failure, okay? What I said was I was so enamored. I was so impressed with her ability or her job, because an environmentalist, and my head was going somewhere else, that I didn't really hone in on the fact that if I had asked a simple question and say, okay, do you want to, can we meet and see how we can make you, realize your dream of staying at home with the kids? To be a possibility. See, so I only had a few, like I had maybe 2 minutes because of where I work. I gotta be careful with where I am. So that's the thing that my brain went somewhere else. And then she said, well, I don't like selling and this and that. And I said, oh, it's about sharing stories. And then I knew already, I thought, oh my gosh, I put my foot in my mouth. So I have to, from what Alan says, that you really have to give them what they want. And what she really wanted was to be with her children. And I misinterpreted it by, I was so impressed by her credentials and how she could use it, right? So when we hear people, there again, it's listening skills and, maybe sometimes I talk too fast. I don't know, because maybe of the time frame, I have no idea. But when he said that, like, okay. So I wanted to share that with you because it's a very real life thing that happened today. So there you go, learning from it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a session that we can definitely go back and listen to again and write some notes and share with the promoters that aren't with us tonight. So I know this will be a great tool. Thank goodness for YouTube. And I have to say that I do go back to see the sessions and the views, and some of the sessions, they're like 100 views, 90 views. So people are going back. Yeah. It was it's funny because I've been told in the past, oh no, people don't go back to watch recordings. So I thought, oh, am I wasting my time here? And no, I think it's not that I'm wasting my time, but I mean, doing the recording and putting it up on YouTube, and it is a tool, and it is working for people that aren't able, that are working, right? Or they're not able to, say, the odd time they can't make it, then it is a great tool for people. But yes, it is better live. Absolutely, Joan. The energy is there. And, if we can make it and make that commitment, because that is a commitment that I had made to Al and Annalise when they were my uplines, and we had to drive constantly. I would drive over an hour. I would drive through sleet, ice, rain. My husband would always get mad at me for leaving the house and driving to these meetings, and always worried about me on the road. Hey, Joni, like the meetings were far. It wasn't Zoom, guys. I was driving every Tuesday and every Thursday. I was driving over an hour there, over an hour back.
Wow.
And sometimes even after working 10-hour days, quarter my days off, sleeping on the floor in the meeting room, getting up, going to the meetings. It's so much easier now, guys.
That's a great techie tool. Actually, I tell people to go to your YouTube, like, because my new promoter that I signed up, I was like, did I send you that recording? I couldn't remember. And I said, you know what? Just go to Nada's YouTube. Just check your YouTube channel, right? And there's all the recordings.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Mary Ellen just texted me. She's trying to get on the health talk. She can't get in because we're on here. So I'll let her know we're logging off. So we'll talk to you soon. Thank you all so much. Love you guys.
Bye. Love you.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.